that part. Welcome to Don't Do Disney. My name is Daniel.
And my name is Zach.
And this is a podcast where we talk about Disney, Disney parks, Disney company, Disney things, all kind of great Disney things. And don't get fooled, though. If you see the title, Don't Do Disney, we're not against it, Disney. We love Disney. We just don't want you to go and do Disney without knowing some stuff, maybe hearing our opinions, because we're just that kind of people. We just want you to hear our opinions. That's what we like to do. Anyway, this is our very first show, our very first podcast.
Well, it's my very first podcast.
Well, it's our very first podcast together.
Yes.
Yeah, cool. We have been doing a YouTube channel, though, for the last, 3 years? 2 years? 2 years.
Almost 3 years?
Almost 3 years. I have no idea. I don't. Without a calendar in front of me, I can't judge any of those things. No, we've been doing a YouTube channel. It's called the WDW. Well, it's not called the. It's called WDW Aristocrafts. I have to wait for this theme song to end. There we go. It's got WDW. It's weird. On my other podcast, it's done in my office, and then the mixer's over here, and the mixer's over in front of you, and
I don't think you want me just pressing random buttons because I don't know what these buttons do.
Well, the buttons control random things. Like push that button right there, the orange one. There you go. It's spinning the wheel. Spinning the wheel. Oh, okay. That was a leftover sound effect from something else. No one cares about this. Anyway, we do a YouTube. That's what I was trying to say. We do a YouTube channel, WDW Aristocrafts, where we talk about Disney pin trading primarily. Unfortunately, the pandemic has gotten us in a spot where they're not doing a lot of pin trading at Disney. So our YouTube channel has started to drift into more Disney merch hauls and pin hauls and things like that. But I thought, you know what? I feel like we could just do a podcast where we could just talk about Disney. We're not news reporters. We're not going to go out and break news, but we read a lot of Disney news every week. We go to the parks multiple times a month, so we have opinions on those things, and we have, I don't know. I just think it'd be. I have no idea what I'm trying to say. What am I trying to say?
That we have opinions on Disney, and you should perhaps maybe want to hear them, or you might not. You might think we're just two other people with Disney opinions whose opinions you don't care to hear, but. Right. Either way.
But let's clear up a misconception, because I see this all the time on Twitter, which Twitter is its own problem. We'll just avoid that topic for the moment. But I see all the time on Twitter or in the comments on videos where people say, "Oh, thank goodness you're telling the truth. You're not pandering to Disney." And it feels like those more often show up on negative videos where it feels like the perception is that if you're not trashing Disney, then you're not being honest. And I think that's the wrong approach to take. I think Disney does a lot of great things. Disney does a lot of mediocre things, and Disney does some bad things. But on the whole, if I didn't think Disney did more good things than bad, I wouldn't be a Disney fan, right? So as Disney fans, we are, of course, going to be biased from the standpoint of we like Disney. But I don't think that's going to flavor, like, we're not going to paint everything with a rose-colored glasses or something like that.
And similarly, we're not going to go into it with an attitude that every single thing Disney does is calculated to make the experience worse for everyone.
There's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of Disney blogs that will spin a story in the most negative light possible, right? Garbage cans are overflowing at Magic Kingdom in Florida because Bob Chapek cut the budget or something like that. I was like, well, in the reality, you don't know that it was a budget cut that did that. It could have just been a single. I seriously doubt that Bob Chapek is calling up the Disney parks. How many people are cleaning out the garbage cans? Can we maybe cut that down to like half? I want to see those garbage cans overflowing. I want to see the guests crying. I want to see them overflowing. It's like, who knows?
Because Bob Chapek is a lizard man who thrives off guest tears.
I want to put them on those monorails, those unsafe monorails. I want to send them around on those. The door on the monorail broke in that one video like 2 years ago, and now everyone still calls them unsafe monorails. It was one time. No one got hurt, and the door got stuck open. Anyway, it's not important. It's transportation. People are going to get hurt in transportation. There's nothing I can do about that. But that's not what we want to talk about now. I've devolved. I've sidetracked myself here. What do we want to talk about? Oh, I know. You just yesterday were at the closing weekend of the Festival of Arts. What's it? The Epcot Festival of the Arts 2022?
Epcot International Festival of the Arts 2022. The official hashtag is Artful Epcot, but, you know, some people have more colorful names for it.
Farts. The Farts Festival. Yeah. You went there, and how was the last weekend?
It was crowded because it's President's Day weekend, which is a long weekend in the U.S. A lot of kids have it off. A lot of people have it off work. So the entire weekend was booked up for basically every ticket type. Epcot was no exception. There were lots of people there. But it was a nice weekend, and there were, you know, people milling about and looking at artwork and buying artwork and eating all the food. I had some very pleasant interactions with both cast members and guests. So it was a very nice way to end the Festival of the Arts.
That's right. You bought some more artwork. You were wearing your T-shirt that you just bought recently that says "Be nice to cast members."
I was.
You were just sucking up to cast members. You
No.
just wanted them to like give you a fast pass or something. We don't have those anymore.
What's a fast pass?
But they could get you into the Lightning Lane.
No, there was absolutely no ulterior motive to that other than wanting to show my appreciation for cast members.
You know, the best way to do that is to leave a cast compliment. Just go on the Disney app and leave a cast compliment.
Yes, you can now leave a cast compliment on the Disney app, which is a functionality that they had before, but Disney finally added the ability to, instead of, you know, adding a cast compliment for all of custodial, to leave a specific cast member's name.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
Yeah. When they first added it to the app, you had to just say, I was in, you know, World Celebration on this day in this area, like some random area, and I want to give it. So there was no specific cast member. You could always do it on Twitter, though. You can always do it on Twitter. What is it? Who do you want to hit up on Twitter? WD Info or?
I don't want to give incorrect information, so
let's just pop over to Twitter and look really fast, because that will tell us who that we want to go to. Who is there's an ad that you can do here, right? There you go. WDW guest service. Is that one of the ones you can do?
I believe so.
You can also just probably at Walt Disney World, but yeah, if you do the hashtag cast compliment and then hit one of the Walt Disney World Twitter. This is really bad. I'm giving people advice and without knowing it myself. So I don't know. Look on Twitter. Do you use Twitter a lot?
For our channel, yes.
I have gotten to the point where Twitter is so angry about everything. I just feel like Twitter is like a hive of bees. It's always angry about something, and so I find myself less and less looking at Twitter, less and less using Twitter. Wow, I remember when Twitter started, when it was you use it on the flip phone, you could text message to it and stuff, and I don't know, maybe I'm just burnt out on Twitter. As you were at the Festival of the Arts, though, like I said, it's final weekend. It ends on Monday, President's Day. The next festival that's coming to Epcot is going to be the
Flower and Garden Festival.
Is that also international?
That is.
Is it the international festival?
I think
garden,
every festival at Epcot is international because Epcot is international.
International. That's why harmonious. They sing in different languages. Yeah. So the Flower and Garden Festival. Are you looking forward to the Flower and Garden Festival?
I am.
What is your favorite of the 4 Epcot festivals? What is your favorite?
Food and wine.
Food and wine is your favorite.
I do think, however, that Food and Wine has started to go on a bit long.
Yeah, Food and Wine starts like tomorrow and it goes through like
January 12th.
It starts
mid-July and goes through the end of November, usually.
Until we run out of food. I like Food and Wine. I don't know. It's a toss-up for me. I like Flower and Garden and I like Food and Wine. I'm curious because the Flower and Garden Festival that we went to first, they had the over where they now have the Epcot experience, they had classes, right? There were things going on. There were teaching classes over there about growing plants and things that you could learn about plants. And they were doing different little seminar kind of things, which I thought was kind of cool. But with COVID, they haven't been doing those. So, and plus that room is now being used for the Epcot experience. But I like Flower and Garden. Do you think they're going to have the butterfly?
They are, if I recall correctly, they are having a butterfly house. I think it's sponsored by a different company this year.
Who sponsored it before? That's probably why they're not sponsoring it. It's like they spent millions, probably not millions. They spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to sponsor it, and none of us have any idea who it was that did it. And by none of us, I mean neither of us have any idea who it was that sponsored it. That is weird. When you think about that, the amount of money that like Siemens paid to sponsor Spaceship Earth. Like, what product have we ever bought from Siemens? Like, what does Siemens even sell that we would? I think of Siemens as like being big industrial electronic equipment, like industrial routers and electronics and things that I have no need for in my home. It's like, why? Like, people go to Spaceship Earth and go, yeah, I really want to buy a router now. I feel like, I don't know.
Did you ever get off Carousel of Progress wanting to buy products from GE?
Well, yeah, because GE has household products, right? They have light bulbs. They have what else does she?
Yes, but did a ride on Carousel of Progress make you want to buy a GE product?
Yeah, because now was the time.
Was it the best time?
It was the best time of my life. That was
to buy a GE product.
To buy a GE product. Carousel. Fun fact: when GE pulled out of Carousel of Progress, they just took out all the references to GE in the show. They didn't change the show, and there was this one awkward moment where, in one of the scenes, where the main narrator was going, "Around the turn of the century, a company came in and brought us electricity." It's like they just kind of zeroed out just saying GE, so it was just like a company came in and brought us electricity. So, yeah.
Redacted.
That would have been better, actually. Just have a big robotic redacted. But that was when they were sponsoring Horizons over at Epcot. They pulled out of the kingdom and went over to Epcot for Horizons, which then sunk into the earth, never to be seen again. And they built centrifuges on top of it. Those centrifuges are actually there. People don't know this. It's a fun Disney fact. Those centrifuges run the pumps to keep that pavilion from sinking again. It pumps the water out from underneath it. So
is that actually true?
Yeah, that's true. No, that's not true. But you can tell someone.
Wait, so we're telling people don't do Disney without us, and you're just going to spout lies?
Yeah, because that is an interesting, fun fact that you could tell people when you're at Epcot. You're like, here at Mission Space, there used to be a ride called Horizon, which sunk into the earth, but now they put in centrifuges to pump the dirt back in or something. I don't know. Some pump. Just say pump. I don't know. So they decided, we'll just build an attraction around it. That seems like a good idea to me. I just build an attraction.
If you do this, don't tell them you got it from us, please.
Right. I read on the internet. I heard.
Because everything you read on the internet must be true.
I heard. Speaking of on the internet, you brought up this article today. Epcot sees its shadow. Imagineering extends spine project permit another year. A little play on the Groundhog's Day. A little bit late. It's like, that would have been a great headline for like February 6th, but on February 20th, I don't know that it rings as well, the little groundhog reference there. This is from Blog Mickey, and it basically is saying that the permits that Walt Disney had to file for redoing the spine, well, what they believe is the spine, it's actually just listed as Project G 202-1, but speculation is that is the Epcot spine because it matches up to what they're doing. Has been extended now through 2023. The old project had an end date of 2021, October of 2021, and now it's moved
which
up
obviously
to
has come and gone, and the Epcot spine is still a gigantic mud pit.
It is. And I the one thing that bugs me about that whole construction area is we more often than not go to the left. We go towards guest services over towards Mission Space Galaxy, Guardians of the Galaxy, that side when we're coming in. We go underneath Spaceship Earth and we head to the left. And it's got that weird switchback where you feel like you're a rat in a maze and you have to go up and then down and then back around. And I just want them to finish enough of it so that I don't have to do that anymore. Because if you go to the right, you have a pretty straight shot over to the Living Seas.
Yes, if you want to go see Nemo or Figment or go to the land, you don't have to go around and double back and do the hokey pokey and get lost and wander into Creation Shop and then wander back out and try and reorient yourself as to where exactly you are in this massive construction zone that is current day Epcot.
Yeah. I'm hoping that they're going to prioritize maybe the central pathway. I would be fine if the central pathway had walls on either side of it and just let me go through where I want to go. I know they're putting in trees and green spaces and they're putting in piping and electricity, so they've got to cut through all that stuff and it makes no sense. But it's Epcot, come on. I mean, it started its construction at the worst possible time, like right before the pandemic, and yeah. So I mean, it's not their fault, but wow, it is. When you factor in no parking tram and our luck with the Epcot parking lot, which our luck with the Epcot parking lot is that we will park in the furthest spot away from the walkway. So as we pull in, it never fails. They open up a new row and then just point at us. They don't point anyone else. They'll point at us. You, come. And they'll make us go all the way down to the end.
It's like they know who we are and they know what vehicles we drive. And although I feel like it only happens when you're driving.
That's what it is. They just don't like me.
And they don't like your truck.
Yeah, that's what it is. Has it never happened in the car?
I don't think so. I think I've usually gotten middle or end or correct end of the row.
Oh, then we'll never take it. Let's just not take the truck anymore. We'll just take the car. Problem solved.
Well, and if we take the car, if we're lucky enough, we can get an EV spot right up front.
I feel like those EV spots at the front of Epcot are cursed because that's the queue for the ride hailing.
That's the ride hailing staging area. So
you have to sit there and wait in line to get to the parking space. Like there's a bunch of Uber and Lyft drivers blocking the path, blocking the drive, and you have to sit and wait in line.
That, and we rarely get to Epcot early enough to get a spot because there are only 4 and they fill up really fast.
Yeah. Well, there's 4 at Epcot. There's 4 at the Kingdom.
There's 4 at all the parks.
Really?
Yeah. And then 2 or 3 at several of the resorts and 4, I believe, at each of the Disney Springs parking garages.
I thought there were more than 4 at the Grapefruit, but now Grapefruit is cast parking. So you can't go over there anywhere. I mean, you can go over there, you just can't.
Well, it was at one time. We haven't been to the Grapefruit Garage recently to confirm or deny whether it is still cast parking.
That's true. All right, I'm all over the road here. We were talking about the Epcot permit has been extended to 2023.
Correct.
Does this upset you? Does this bother you at all?
Only in that I would like to see construction finished as soon as possible because Epcot has so much potential, and right now it's just a giant dirt mound, and it's a pain in the neck to navigate, and it's almost faster to go out and park at the boardwalk and walk in through the back gate than it is to go in through the front gate.
I mean, on the bright side, you get your steps in.
Yes.
You can get 5,000 steps just from the
parking lot.
From the parking lot to Mission Space with all the things that make you go around there. But no, I feel like...
No. So there's a lot of whinging and whining that things at Disney related to construction of various things are taking too long. And the unfortunate reality is construction takes as long as it takes.
Yeah.
There are a multitude of factors that go into any construction project that can hinder or hamper or speed up or slow down, and the random people on the internet don't get to decide how long something should take.
Yeah, I mean, there's inspectors. There's all kinds of red hoops that you have to jump through, especially when you're building something in a public theme park, right? That's who's somebody in Florida that watches over the. It's like the weirdest department of government in Florida that oversees amusement rides, because they used to primarily just pay attention to fair rides, so, you know, like carnival rides and stuff. But I think it's like the agriculture department. So it's like the Department of Agriculture is responsible for Walt Disney World and Universal and their permitting for their rides and amusement rides. But then on top of that, you have the normal electrical, plumbing, you know, ADA requirements, all kinds of things like that have to be built in. Anyway, I don't think it's a big deal. I think extending it out to 2023 is fine.
And that gives them that gives them leeway.
It does, but we've already seen where it doesn't have to be completely done for our life to get slightly better.
Right.
So when the Creation Shop, when the Creation Shop opened, I don't know why I want to call it the Creature Shop, but the Creation Shop opened, they opened walkways that made your life a little bit easier. That was still part of the spine, right? So I think incrementally it'll get better. Hopefully it will get better by the end of this year. We'll have a couple of new walkways opened up.
Yeah, I saw speculation in the comments of this article that area should hopefully be opened up, that little bit of walkway that's still blocked off, preventing you from having that more direct path, might be done by the end of the spring.
Well, if you think about it, if I'm not wrong, right next to guest relations was a pathway going to the electric umbrella in olden days. And that's closed now because they're
working on connections,
redoing it. But yeah, but if they finish with connections, then theoretically we should just be able to walk right past guest services, right past connections to the new walkway going to Guardian, you know, the breezeway going to Guardians, and have our new lovely mouse gear, well, whatever's going in wherever mouse gears was going, probably Starbucks and something.
I think that's where Connections is going.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything. There you go. There's our one news story that we talked about this week. Episode 1s of podcasts are always rambly, just so you know. It takes a while to figure out how you talk to each other with like we talk to each other all the time, but like every day, right? We live here, we work here, we live in the same house, we work in the same house. But it's different when you're talking into a microphone with headphones and you're trying to, you know, minimize the amount of downtime. I don't know. It's a thing. Okay, well, what I would like to do is I would like to end the show with a segment that we're going to call Heroes and Villains. It's been done on other podcasts. Basically, this is going to be something good about Disney that happened this week and something bad that happened around Disney or about Disney this week. For both of us, you'll get the idea. You want to start with heroes or villains?
Let's start with the villains, because ending on a bad note is, well, bad.
Things were different when I was in the castle. Villain. All right, what's your villain of the week?
So my villain of the week is the Disney merchandising department, specifically the ones that approved this year's Festival of the Arts merchandise. And I've talked about this on our YouTube video where we went over our first experience at the Festival of the Arts this year, so I apologize if this is a bit of a repeat for some of you. But whichever person made the okay to release a bunch of monochromatic, boring, lifeless, outline-filled merchandise this year, I don't know if y'all are saving the good stuff for one of the more popular festivals, i.e. Flower and Garden or Food and Wine, both of which go on for what seem like eternity. But yeah.
According to the internet, it was Bob Chapek. Bob Chapek called them and said, I don't want any color in that merchandise. I want all the merchandise to be black and white. I want it to be boring.
Well, Bob, you succeeded. But I actually bought a cup yesterday while I was there because it was one of the few pieces of festival merchandise that actually looked representative of what I would think an arts and crafts festival merchandise piece would look like. I have seen you do better, Disney, for this festival specifically in previous years, so do better.
Wow. Harsh words to Disney there. My villain of the week is all of the Sturm and Drang. Is that Sturm and Drang? Is it Sturm and Dram? Sturm and all of the consternation surrounding the Disney's Galactic Star Wars Hotel. This thing hasn't even launched yet. Doesn't launch until March 1st. And every little thing that happens about the Star Cruiser Hotel, every Disney blog, every Twitter thread is about how it's a failure, how it's a horrible, horrible failure. People are canceling their reservations. People are, Disney's pulling down videos and because people are mad at them. And honestly, we don't know any of that. That's all just speculation. This thing hasn't launched yet. I think the latest headline that grabbed me was that they changed the word data bands in the marketing material to say magic bands.
Which is, Disney is downgrading the immersion.
Yeah, all the headlines were saying, Disney's giving up. And then they're already, watering down the experience. But in reality, they're doing test runs right now with cast members and other people that have signed up.
Media previews start tomorrow.
Yeah. And probably they realized pretty quickly, people are confused about this data band thing. Everyone's going, where's my data band? And it's like, it's your magic band. And we're just calling. And they're like, they changed it. That doesn't change anything. It doesn't take away. Anyway, my point is when you have a big event like there's always going to be cancellations. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's still booked up for its opening couple of months fully. Just give it a chance. It may be the biggest piece of crap in the universe, but let it at least exist before you come to that conclusion. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Speaking of that, I saw a Twitter thread just before we started recording from, I think it was DSNY Newscast, who was like, I still want this to be a positive, even if I personally don't want to go on it or would like to go on it but can't afford it, because to do so otherwise, takes all the blood and the sweat and the tears of every single person who has worked on this, from Imagineering to construction to, cast members being hired to act. Is act the right word there?
Yeah. The actors.
Yeah, from the actors and the people staffing the hotel. It's like every single one of those people has put or will put a bunch into this.
Yeah, but it's not.
You're taking that and you're stomping all over it because you have this agenda that you want this to be a failure because you think it's too expensive and Disney's just catering to the rich.
And they can always lower the price.
Yes, and they very well may lower the price.
And it may very well be a runaway success, and we'll look back at this time and go, oh, okay.
But yeah, you have to let something have a chance before you decide that it's a failure.
It's like watching that guy on stage at the Festival of the Arts paint the picture, and you're going like, oh, that's crap. No, that's crap. Let him finish the painting first to see what it is. He's just painting background stuff. Anyway, that was my villain of the week. What's your hero of the week, Zach?
So my hero of the week is all the artists at the Festival of the Arts. I'm not going to name names because, frankly, I don't remember names very well, but all of the ones that we interacted with, that we bought art from, that signed our art, they're so gracious and so wonderful. And, they can tell, I can tell, you can tell, that they really love what they do, and they love that Disney has let them put their talents to work to create gorgeous pieces of art featuring Disney's characters. And, the fact that this gets a festival now is amazing, and I hope it continues.
Oh, I don't think there's any plans for them to
cancel it.
Yeah. My hero of the week is the Disney stockholders report meeting, whatever you want to call it. As a Disney stockholder, I probably should have listened to the call, but I didn't. But yeah, Disney is doing great. From a stock standpoint, they're doing great. We might even get dividends this time around. So
don't spend your $2 all in one place.
It's hilarious that you think I would get as much as $2. I own 10 shares of Disney stock. Right? It's like what would it have to be, 20 cents a share to get $2?
I think so.
Yeah. Also, it's set to reinvest. So all I'll do is I'll own a 0.002% of another piece of Disney stock. So then I can say I own 10.002 shares of Disney stock. But no, it was a great earnings call after all of the bashing of how Bob Chapek has handled things, whatever. At least his first earnings report under his under his leadership has gone well. So
yes, the big question is it sustainable?
This is the heroes section. I'm saying something positive. No, you don't get to say that.
Okay.
Get your villain out of my hero. Anyway, thank you guys for listening to us ramble. We do appreciate it. We will be back next week, and maybe we'll tweak some stuff and figure things out. This is all new equipment. Well, not all new equipment. It's some new equipment that we have in here, and we're having cameras that are playing this. So if you are listening to us on the podcast stream or in the podcast feed, God, I can't talk. You can go over to our YouTube channel, WDW Aristocrafts. It's a weird one, but it's WDWAR. I'm not even going to try to spell it.
WDWARISTOCRAFTS.
It's like a nightmare Wordle is what it is. But yeah, go over to WDW Aristocrafts on that YouTube channel if you want to see us. It's the exact same content, but you can see us there. But we also have additional content on that channel. We're still going to be doing merch hauls and things like that. So our normal Disney content will still be over on that channel. But the podcast stuff will be out in the feed. Anyway, tell a friend about it. Head over to Apple. I don't know how long it's going to take us to get listed on iTunes. It may take a couple of weeks. I'll try to speed that up as much as I possibly can. But yeah, when we pop up over on Apple Podcast, make sure that you leave us a review. That would be really, it's super free for you to, I don't know why I said super. It's
super free. It's super free.
It's not just free, it's super free. And it's a great thing to do. And by the way, that applies to any podcast that you listen to. That's a great way to help them get some more visibility to other people. Anyway, all of this is to say, don't do Disney
without us.